all men are the same. Well, that's what she said. As if all men are genetically engineered to contain the same number of chromosomes in their cells. She said all men are the same. As if all men are simply specimens in bottles that are massively being produced to have the same structure in their genes. She said all men are the same. And as she began to explain the reason behind the basis, you see, it was clear that she only blamed man for the sharp decline of our relationships, but that does not mean all men are the same. And to be honest, I don't think she knows what she means when she says all men are the same. Because time and time again, us men have lived in silence. All people stay in our image when they say all men are the same. Us men have been ridiculed. Us men have only been seen as mere reflections of our former selves. But if us men say something like all women should just be housewives, as soon as you say those words, you would instantly see the spark that begins to ignite in their eyes. But it's somehow not the same when they say all men are the same. Now, but please, I'm not trying to compare this with that. I'm just trying to say that this man cannot be blamed for the sins caused by that man. All men are the same. But that's what she said. And as she said those words, it wasn't the feeling of anger or resentment that began to accumulate inside of me. It simply said that is the only thing people see when they look at me and branding. With those 5 words written across the palm of my face, judging all my actions before they actually acted. Because when you say those words, you're simply tracing back to the beginning of life and saying that every man to have ever lived is simply a carbon copy of that former selves, that the death of Christ did not change the script of man because man still makes the same sins that the death of Christ did not change the script of man because man still makes the same sins. Because when you say those words, you're simply saying that no man to ever live will ever be as great as the ones that came before us, that every man to ever live will not achieve greater heights than the ones that came before us, that every man to ever live will make the same mistakes and cause the same pain as the ones that came before us. Because when you say those words, you're simply saying that all those people that you look up to, it might be your teacher, it might be your pastor, it might even be your father. You're simply saying that all those men are just the same as those bad examples of men that you have seen. When you say those words, you're simply telling a young boy to give up on life, because at the end of the day, all his efforts are in vain for all men to be seen as the same. All men are not the same. I was not born to live a life that someone else already has. And my life does not depend on the actions of someone else's past, because all men are not the same. Our God has done too much for that to be true. Because from the beginning of Genesis to the very existence of this time, you see, man has made mistakes. Man has fallen short of the glory of God. Man has caused more problems than we dare to admit. But if you keep on numbering man's constant mistakes, your eyes will not see the great figures of men who have ever lived on this earth. But if you keep on numbering man's constant mistakes, your eyes will not see the great figures of men who have ever lived on this earth. All men are not the same. Because there are still men like Joseph, who can run marathons just to get away from temptation. Men like Noah, who only trained in the eyes of God. There are still men like Jacob, who can wait for you until time itself gets tired of waiting. All men are not the same. But it's time for us men to be the image of God that we want our children's children to reflect. It's time for us men to show these people how far from the truth that statement is. All men are not the same. But if they are, then I dare to be different.